Okay, another essential topic for your GCSE exams, fractions, decimal, percentage, equivalents. There are certain ones that you need to know off the top of your head for your non-calculator papers. So we need to remember that 1/10 is the same as 0.1 is the same as 10%. Ways of working these out if you don't remember them. 1/10 means 1 divided by 10, and to turn a decimal into a percentage we times by 100, or to go the other way then we share by 100. Now, a nice one to remember is the half. So again, fraction into a decimal, share the numerator by the denominator, so 1 divided by 2. And if we forget how to do that technique, then we can use our box methods. 2's into 1 doesn't go, so 0, carry the 1 over. 2's into 10, I'll put the decimal point of course, 2's into 10 is 5, no need to carry on, so 1 divided by 2 is the same as 0.5, and then to turn that into a percentage we multiply by 100, so 50%. A lot of people like putting the extra 0 on, so they keep the decimals at 2 decimal places, because sometimes that helps memorise what's going on. So if you do that, there's not a problem. So 0.50 is 50%, and if we were going the other way, to turn a percentage into a decimal, then we share by 100. So quite often it's useful to memorise one particular fraction and how it all cancels through to decimals or percentages, or the other way around, and then we can have that as our example. So if they give us another awkward one, then we can use this technique to try and get the equivalence going. The other things that we need to be able to do is turn decimals into fractions. So a decimal into a fraction. So if we remember again some standard techniques, then I would always advocate that you kind of always have the place value of the numbers and digits and how they break down in your mind. So we know that the place values go units, decimal points, then we break them into parts, so tenths, hundredths and thousandths. So for example, if I have 0.5, then the 5 is in the tenths column, so 0.5 will be the same as 5/10, which if we cancel fractions down, as we should do, both of these have a common factor of 5, so they share down to 1/2. So if I do one more example, so again, if I start with the idea that I write down my headings to kind of help me to see what I'm doing, then say I had 0.431 and I was asked to turn this into a fraction, then I can see that the smallest place value in the number is a digit in the thousandths column. So I recognise then that this is being able to be broken down into so many thousandths, and it happens to be 431. So 431 thousandths because of the smallest place value. So that's the way to get decimals into fractions. The kind of common question that they give you on this is they ask you to change a list. So basically they want you to write a list in size order. So for example, they might give you 0.12, 15%, 1/3, and 5/8, and they want this in size order, starting with the smallest. Well, if we turn them all into equivalents, that helps to see what's going on. So this one's already a decimal, I'm going to turn all of these into decimals. So 15% we divide by 100, so 0.15, 1/3, it's one of those that we really ought to know. If we didn't, then again we could do the division method, 3's into 1, and then see what happens. But it's 0.33 recurring, so the 3 goes on forever. And it's really important that for a third you remember it goes on forever. And 5/8, again, if we remember that a quarter is 0.25, then an eighth must be a half of that, so 0.125. So 5/8 must be 5 of those. 5 times that is going to be 0.625. As it happens, the list I chose is already in size order, because if I put these decimals into a column so that I can see and compare, then I can see that this is the smallest, even though these have both got 1/10. 2/100 is smaller than 5/100. 3/10 is bigger than that, and 6/10 is bigger than that. So they are already actually in size order. So that's how that question can be done. Change them into common types, and then write them out in the correct order. Another common question is where they give you a mix of fractions and percentages, and they ask you to work out what fraction is left. Well, again, a common way of doing that is to recognise some common equivalents. So again, we need to remember things like a tenth is 10%, 0.1. Half, we've already seen, is 50%, 0.5. A quarter, 25%, 0.25. An eighth, 12.5%, 0.125. A 20th, 5%. And again, some ways to remember these is 20 times 5 is 100%, so the whole is always 100%. A 20th of it, well, there's 25s, so a 20th is 5%. And again, when we turn that into a decimal by sharing by 100, the 5 started off in the units column, so it's going to move down 2 place values to become 0.05. And a hundredth, 1%, 0.01. And this list, it's not too long, and it's worth learning these. So 1/5 is 20%. Again, 5 20s make 100%. 0.2 or 0.20 if you prefer. So what we've got a half, or the third, so we need the third as well. So a third, and this one again is really important, it's not 33%. 3 33s make 99. It's 33.3 recurring percent and 0.3 recurring. So again, the 3 goes on forever. It's not the same as 0.3, a common mistake. Try and avoid that one. So again, it's worth learning these really well, so that you have them off the top of your head and you can use them. And particularly this example here, have that one as your common one as a starting point, and remember this division method just in case you don't remember things like a third is 33.3%. You can simply say 3's into 1, because it says 1 divided by 3, so 3's into 1, 0 points, carry the 1, push it through, so 3's into 10 is 3 remainder 1, 3's into 10 is 3 remainder 1, and we can see then that this is going to go on forever, just being 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, so fraction, decimal, percentage equivalents, important things to remember for your exam.